Hello everybody, today I'm gonna be ranking every single boss that I've done in Radiant mode on Hollow Knight. I will be ranking them from easiest to hardest, number 44 being the easiest and number 1 of course being the hardest. Let's just get into it. First up in the list, number 44 is the Massive Moss Charger. Seriously, if you didn't see this one coming, I don't know what you're supposed to expect from this list. Like, this boss is a joke on its own. Everyone knows that if you equip the Quick Slash and Steady Body, this boss won't take longer than 30 seconds. Just time your hits right and hit a charge attack. When he does it, you can keep hitting him back and he will keep charging until you get hit or he dies. Either or, he's super easy to do. On to number 43. At number 43, I put Elder Hugh. Once again, pretty much a joke boss in my opinion. The fight isn't hard because you can dodge everything if you have Sharp Shadow or just Shadow Dash in general. The only annoying part about this battle is that he flies all the time away and you can't get more than 3 hits at a time on him, which makes this battle just long. It's not hard, you can just dodge through every attack with a Sharp Shadow, and the only reason how you could get hit is if you accidentally jump into it. That, however, is why I put him at the second easiest boss in the game. Also to be expected very low on the list is the False Knight. It is normal because he is in fact the first or second boss you face in the game, depending if you went for Grozmother or not. However, he is pretty much the same. His mobility and the arena around him that you have make this boss an easy pickings. With all the extra nail arts and extra mobility you got as well, this boss doesn't stand a chance. He will be quickly dealt with. Coming at number 41, a lot of you might not expect this or agree with me here, but the Mantis Lords. I know they're pretty much a hard battle when you first face them, but once you get a lot more mobility such as a double jump, Sharp Shadow, and nail arts, they're pretty much not a challenge anymore at all. Yeah, their attacks are still quick and swift, but it's much easier to dodge them and parry off of them to do than before. So these guys weren't actually as much problem as I thought they were gonna be when I first started the Godmaster DLC. Anyways, these guys deserve number 41 on the list for me. Next to Elder Hugh, Gorb is actually the second easiest warrior grave in the game, in my opinion, because his attacks are still the same, but the difference is you have less space to move around. Normally, the platform you have in a normal game is one stable platform, but now you have 3 little platforms, which makes it a little bit harder for you to move around, but it still shouldn't be a problem because knowing his attacks are pretty easy to dodge. The only problem you could have is when you accidentally want to attack already, but he goes into the next phase, which makes him attack another sword or whatever he throws at you. Just watch out, and if you anticipate him, you can attack him and kill him quickly. Coming in at number 39, I put Galien, the third easiest warrior grave, and his fight is pretty much the same in Attuned as it is in Ascended or Radiant. He just has more health and does more damage. Some people say he's pretty hard, but with Mark of Pride and Unbreakable Strength and you stand right below him, you can do massive damage in little time. However, I was using the Grubberfly Elegy. I don't know if this was the best idea to do, but it worked out for me pretty easily. However, this boss is just a walk in the park. More than 50% of the time, even with a long nail, you can hit him from the ground just upwards. And if you can just keep the momentum going from left to right on the axe he's throwing at you, he should be no problem. At number 38 and number 37, I put the Crystal Guardian and the Enraged Guardian. They're pretty much easy and cheesy for me. The biggest threat these guys can give you is when they jump on you. And they always do the same attacks. They shoot a direct beam at you and they scream, which makes crystal beams, or whatever you want to call them, come out of the roof. He's pretty easy, but if you can just keep dashing behind him with the Sharp Shadow or the Shadow Dash, you can kill him within 20 seconds if you can keep slashing away. Coming in at number 36, I put the Soul Warrior. Normally these guys can be quite annoying on their own and be even more annoying when you have the flying mistakes that are guarding him or just trying to help him fight. But On Radiant mode I got quite lucky because I hit him into a state that he couldn't move until I killed him. He pretty much glitched, and I don't know if this was supposed to happen, but I still put him here because I feel like this would be his position even if I didn't get the lucky glitch. Coming at number 35, I put probably my second favorite boss in the entirety of the game throughout the playthrough I had, the Traitor Lord. This guy was an absolute madman when I first fought him, accompanied by Cloth, who sadly died, but the boss fight was amazing from beginning to ending. But they could have made his battle a little bit more challenging if they just had given the player less movement, or less space to move around, which made this boss battle just the same as in the story, but he had more health, which makes this battle not that hard. Coming in at number 35, the Traitor Lord. Number 34 on the list is the Soul Master. I originally wanted to put this guy at number 42 or 41, but I actually put him at 34. You might be thinking why. It's not that he's hard, but it's a long fight because he teleports all the time around. His attacks are just the same as before, and with all the extra abilities you've gotten with the double jump and the Sharp Shadow, aka Shadow Dash, you can easily dodge more of his attacks. And now you know, unlike in the main game, you know he has a second phase, which you can easily dodge and do more attacks on. At number 34, I put the Soul Master, and it's its best place I feel like it could be. Next on the list is Broken Vessel, coming in at number 33. The Broken Vessel was actually the first boss that took me longer than 5 minutes to do on Radiant mode. Its unpredictability makes it hard to guess where he's going to jump, making him sometimes land on you. The speed of his attacks are the same, but him jumping on you is just an annoying factor, which sometimes happens. Anyways, this place for him is a perfect fit. Doma Doma Dung Defender number 32. The fact that most of his attacks don't even aim at you but more at the arena makes it really annoying sometimes to know where he's going. You don't know all the time because he doesn't even know where he's going. Anyways, this guy, the friendly Dung Defender, if you can get a lot of damage on him, he'll fall in his shell or on his back. And once he's on his back, with all the extra nail arts you've gotten, you can easily do a crap ton of damage, getting him almost into his next state of getting on his back. If you can hit him fast enough, you might even be able to kill him before he will do his special charge mode. Number 31, Hornet Protector, the first actual boss in the game that I had a little bit of trouble with, but mainly just easy to die when I want to do more damage. What I mean by that is, I was always greedy with the amount of damage I wanted to do on this boss because she kept getting hit backwards with a lot of knockback. This made me think I could easily get her into her state where she has a couple of free hits or when she's recovering. This made me run into her instead of just hitting her. I wanted to do too much damage at once, makes me run into her and die multiple times, which shouldn't have been. I originally wanted to put her at number 35 or 37, but with the amount of trouble I had with it, this is where I put her, onto number 30. Number 29, the Gruzmother. It's kind of ironic to see the first mini-boss in the game to be in the top 30, to be honest. The Gruzmother's attacks are really easy to learn and remember, but what makes this battle a lot harder is that the half of the ground is missing and filled with spikes, giving you a lot less space to dodge. The roof is also way smaller and there's not a lot of space horizontally as well. You can easily get hit here a lot if you don't pay attention. The Gruzmother does have only 2 attacks. Either she charges into you, or she smashes her head/stomach into the floor, slowly moving left to right in the arena. But her attacks can get stuck in a roof, which makes it a little bit weird or unpredictable when she's gonna get out. Anyway, number 29, the Gruzmother. Coming at number 28, the Fluke Mom. Yeah, Fluke Mom, aka the boss with literally the worst sound effects in the entirety of the game. I actually had to mute this boss in-game because I was getting disgusted from the sounds I was hearing from it. Anyway, this boss took me a while to beat because I wasn't using the right setup at first. After a while I recognized like, oh wait, if I use Unbreakable Strength or If you don't have Unbreakable Strength yet, Fragile, and use Quick Slash, you can easily one-hit her minions or his minions. I recommend using Long Nail and Mark of Pride for this battle. If you can attack him fast enough, you can keep his minions to a minimum, and he shouldn't be the biggest issue. On to the next one. Coming in at number 27, I put Winged Nosk. Probably a battle I never expected in the 5th Pantheon, but he looks awesome. Its attack reminds me of the Vengefly King, but the hitbox is bigger and the attacks are quicker than the King's. He also spawns in infected balloons who try to creep up on you and try and kill you. This battle isn't the easiest because of the quick actions you sometimes have to do. For example, trying to dodge the infection that's dripping from above when he jumps up to the ceiling, or when he dashes himself up to you. You can either jump over him or shadow dash through him. Anyways, try to keep the infected balloons to a minimum, otherwise you might have an annoying time with this boss. Anyway, on to the next boss. Paintmaster Sheo, number 26. Coming in at number 26, the first nail master, or should I say master of painting. Sheo is the most talented out of the 3 brothers, which gets mentioned in the game a couple of times. His only motivation back then was to become stronger and stronger with the art of nail, but eventually he did find a new path in life which he enjoys more than the actual nail art. The arts of creation bring this boss in at number 26 on the list with a colorful battle. Sheo has a wide set of patterns on which he uses at his disposal to trying to take you down. A tip you can perhaps use is to look at the color of his brush tip before he attacks. It indicates which attacks he will use so you can prepare yourself for it. For example, the orange/brown brush tip indicates he's going for a fast slash, meaning you should either jump over it or get behind him. The blue one indicates he smashes the ground and releases 3 blue paintballs, and the red one indicates he's about to jump above you and hail death from above. He isn't the hardest boss, but this was the most colorful boss and one of my favorites. Also, a little bit detailed, the thing he's painting was the God Master. Grim, Troop Master Grim, number 25, the one that bows to the God Master at the beginning of the battle. Barely make it into the top 25. It is one of the most loved characters in the entirety of the game. Troop Master Grim. He's quick, swift, and deadly as any other. Grim's indication of certain attacks make it annoying to predict what he's going to do. For example, it's sometimes hard to notice if he will jump at you, or dash at you, or explode into flames, or shoot burning bats. It's really hard to notice. Also, maybe a little bit for those who have trouble on this boss. If he goes into what I like to call the pufferfish attack, he looks bloated and goes into the middle of the arena shooting fireballs everywhere, it means you have gotten him a certain 25% down. If you hit him a lot, you get him once into the pufferfish state, which means he's at 75% health, you've knocked him 25% down. However, this happens 3 times. However, if you do hit him in the beginning of the battle, when he's bowing, he will do another one, which makes it 4 times, which is only more harder on yourself. The fight isn't too hard, but it's really long, so it's easy to actually screw up on it, so don't lose your focus and don't let your guard down on him. Number 24, Nosk. Next on the list we have a boss I'm so glad about they got rid of the cheese spot under the little platform. Nosk, his arena in Ascended and Radiant mode is a flat ground which makes you have to be a lot more careful about dodging his attacks. His attack patterns are the same as before, but the only attack you might have a lot of trouble with, because you don't have a platform to hide behind, is the one when he rushes to the middle of the arena and starts shooting the infection goo everywhere. How I advise to dodge this attack is to go to one of the corners of the arena and wait until he shoots. When he shoots, I advise you to jump up and shadow dash through these shots, so you still have a double jump to have a safe landing, or if Nosk is rushing you down. Nosk without his platform isn't a joke anymore, and I'm so glad he didn't get screwed in this Pantheon. Number 23, probably one of the bosses which was in the hardest area of the game, the Hive Knight, defender of the Hive Blood Charm, and protector of the Hive Queen Vespa. The Hive Knight is not a walk in the park, let's just say that for certain. This boss has a big assortment of attacks and will use all tricks to try and stop you. His attacks are sometimes hard to dodge when he has the wasps raining from above that he spawns from spewing them out, and they will slightly curve towards your location. Parrying his attacks are not recommended, because most of his attacks he will lunge himself at you, which even if you can parry his attacks, there's a big chance of getting hit yourself while he's done with the attack by standing on top of you. So what I do is keep your distance with this guy and wait until you have a clear shot, or for example when the lemons or whatever they are shooting the 8 needle shots, wait for that moment and try to hit him as much as possible so you have clear shots at him. Try to get behind him and don't try to get too close. The Vengefly King at number 22, or should I say kings. The first time in a tomb mode when I did this boss, I really thought like, how are they gonna make this boss harder? Are they gonna make it a smaller platform like the Grossmother? But what came afterwards was way worse than I would have ever thought of. A second one of these guys actually made the battle a lot harder than I originally anticipated. They just do their own thing, they're not coordinated at all, which makes the battle a lot harder than you think. Advice for this battle is try not to rush after them, wait until they dash towards you and get a couple of hits off. Always get the little Vengeflies as quickly as possible down so you have more mobility and space to move around. Try to focus one of the kings down, and once you do that it becomes easy pickings. This guy, one on their own is like easy as the False Knight, but both of them at the same time are hell. On to number 21. Some of you might not agree with me putting Lost Kin at 21, but for me he wasn't too bad. Learning his attacks the first time I faced him in the actual story was a nightmare, but knowing what I was doing in this battle made it a little bit easier. His attacks compared to the Broken Vessel are way quicker and harder to read. I died way more than I'd like to admit from him jumping on me or me dashing into an infected balloon accidentally. However, he is easy to kill quickly, which is a plus factor for this battle. This boss was not fun to do at all, with the infected balloons giving you less mobility. I do advise a lot using Defender's Crest or the glowing womb minions. However, I advise a long range attack weapon because you don't want to stand too close to this guy with all of his parrying. Now, let's get into the top 20. Number 20. It's been a while since a warrior grave has popped up, and what better than to put Marmu at number 20. This overgrown caterpillar is a nightmare in a tight area if you don't know how to handle him, and that is exactly what the game throws at you. A small arena and a ball of hell you want to attack and don't want to hit into walls. If you hit him into a wall, it's basically game over, because of his momentum keeps going after bouncing into something. So grip your feet into the ground and time your attacks to this boss. I'd advise to stand a little bit in a corner and keep hitting him to the other side of the arena. Sometimes he will hit the wall and sometimes he won't, so be prepared to dodge. The one who betrayed the king and who paid the debt with his life, Zero, number 19. This boss is normally the first warrior grave you encounter once you get the Dream Nail. His attacks are straightforward, but they are annoying to dodge. Well, you only have a certain amount of room to dodge around. Just like Gorb, you only get a certain amount of platforms, which are not too large. Some people like to attack him in a different pattern than other people. Some people like to damage him before he shoots a nail, and some do afterward. It's just personal preference on which you choose or which comes better to you. However, this warrior grave gave me a lot more trouble than it should have. I kept jumping into him when I was supposed to hit him. He's the third hardest warrior grave there, in my opinion, in Radiant mode, but we'll get to the other two soon enough. Coming in at number 18 is Umu. Where's Quirrell when you need him? Umu, the giant jellyfish, is one of the bosses that actually is a lot different from when you face him in the actual story. Normally you have Quirrell helping you and creating a weak spot on Umu that you can exploit and hit a lot. However, in the God Home, Quirrell isn't here. So you will have to hit Umas, the explosive, smaller jellyfish, into Umu to create a weak point. The thing is, that's easier said than done. Because if you don't directly hit the Umas into Umu, they will explode or come back to you and try to explode you. So Dodge them or you're gonna have a bad time. So only attack them if you're sure you can hit Umu with it. That makes this boss take a long time sometimes, and it can easily get on your nerves. On to number 17. Here is the failed champion at number 17 on the list. This battle is no joke and can easily take you over an hour if you don't know how to handle him. He's quick, thick, and his attacks are slick, which makes you have to dodge a lot of his attacks. However, there's a pattern you can see he uses. When he's in the middle of arena, he's likely to hit the floor with his mace 2 to 3 times, and when he does that, the next attack he will always do is rush you down to jump on top of you. What I advise for this attack is to stand in the corner and jump over the shockwaves until he rushes you down. When he tries to rush you down and try to jump on you, dash away and try to get a lot of hits on him. And keep going to corner, don't stand in the middle. Another place where you can easily get 4 to 5 hits on him, or more even if you're fast, is after you damage the head when you knock him down. After he gets back up, he jumps to the middle of the arena, but in before he jumps to the middle of the arena, you can get a lot of attacks off, which makes the next phase before you hit him down again a lot less hard to get to, which makes this boss a little bit cheesy, but also easier. On to number 16. The second Hornet encounter, and pretty much one of the most annoying battles to do in the normal story. This is Hornet at number 16, Hornet Sentinel. Even more ferocious than before, she's gotten a lot more speed and her attacks follow up a lot quicker as well. Despite that, she tries to parry a lot more than before, but even if you do accidentally hit her parry and before she attacks, you can shadow dash through her, which makes her not hit you. However, somewhere in the battle, she starts putting traps down, which you can get hit by when you accidentally jump into them or run into them, but you can get easily rid of these by hitting these away with a nail. The Godmaster music on Hornet's theme is my second favorite in the game, and it really fits to her fighting style. Fast but elegant. Number 16, Hornet Sentinel. Next up on the list is number 15, No Eyes. I want to say this is one of the worst Warrior Grave bosses there is, but we all know there's one more annoying than this one. No Eyes is a horrible boss in Radiant mode because of having a lot less room to dodge around, and she teleports all over the place, like the Soul Master or Tyrant. Unless you have the Glorify Elegy, you cannot hit her in some positions when she is in the spikes or in the walls. Her teleporting around makes you probably want to rush her down, but that is a grave mistake, in my opinion, because every time you get to the new position you're about to hit her, she teleports away. So you might want to grab just a side of the room, like you just want to grab the right side or the left side of the room and only focus on that side when she teleports on that side. That makes sense? I hope so. But focus on dodging on this battle, but slowly and surely you will kill her. It's more of an endurance fight rather than a challenging one. So, keep your guard up and don't die. Talking about an endurance fight, number 14. The Dream Warrior version of the Soul Master, Soul Tyrant. This boss by far takes the second or even the longest to do. Not from amount of attempts that you have to spend on it to learn this pattern, but how long this battle actually takes. His quick movement and teleportation give you not a lot of time to hit him, mostly 2 of 3 times at most if you're lucky. Not wanting to take risks when you're far into the battle is a common mistake people do here, which makes this battle drag on for a while. He doesn't give a lot of openings and tries to fake you out into jumping when you're not supposed to jump yet. The second phase of this battle, however, is also a nightmare, because you can easily slip up by dodging the wrong way when he's dashing into the floor, or dashing the wrong way when he's sending a new spell. His spell comes in every second and they home in, so make sure you dodge well and try to attack him and take him down as quickly as possible. Oh god, not these guys. Coming in at number 13 are the Watcher Knight. These guys were a pain to do in the regular story and are not any different in Godhome. However, I am very glad there are not 3 of them alive and chasing me at the same time, because that was what I thought the first time what was gonna happen. These guys are a pain to do because just like the Vengeful Vikings, these guys are not coordinated at all. They do what they feel like and they can come at you at any moment. At least you have the Shadow Dash compared to the actual story, so you have a little more effectively dodging instead of just a regular dash and being able to jump. Also, there's no extra cheese in like the regular story because you can't drop a chandelier and chop off one of the husks. These guys don't take any shit, and these guys deserve their spot at number 13, the Watcher Knights. Number 12. White Defender. Doma Doma Defender is back, but he's white this time, and oh god, he's bad. Being in his prime and being a dream battle, this battle is no joke and isn't easy at all to do. Besides having a lot more speed than before, he cannot be knocked onto his back anymore like the real Dung Defender. He also has 2 new attacks, being he slams his arm into the ground creating a shockwave out of dung for a couple of blocks. The other attack, and when he is juggling 3 dung balls and he creates himself into a ball and bounces around, at some point he will crash down into the floor creating a giant shockwave you have to shadow dash through. Or if you're very lucky, there's a slight opening you can stand in between dodging them, but I would assume you would go for the shadow dash. The shockwave attack remind me of the Trader Lord, but that's it. Once you damage him enough, he will yell going into a rampage with attacks. After he yells, he goes underground and tries to jump up below your body up to 6 times while 8 dung balls fly out of the ground as well. Try to dodge him as well as possible because it's not an easy attack to dodge. After that, he wouldn't take that much more until he's defeated. At number 11 we have the Oblobbles. These big balls are in the story the final boss of the second trial of the Colosseum of Fools, the Trial of the Conqueror to be more specific. However, these bosses are absolutely hell with the amount of RNG that comes alongside them. The first phase they just slowly fly and shoot their attacks. If they are facing away from you and you hit them in the back, they will instantly turn towards you. The same goes for if they're flying upwards and you hit them from below, they will go instantly fly downwards instead of up. So I would say spells are your best bet. Spells like the Abyss Shriek and the Shade Soul are really useful here. Just make sure to use them when they're just finished shooting the goo. Phase 2, however, can take a while if you want to be safe about it. When one of the Oblobble dies, the other one goes into a rage state when he regens a bunch of health if he's low on health. His attacks will be faster and so will his movement. He flies a lot quicker and makes it a lot harder for you to get hits in without being in danger. Try to find the right timing and eventually it will work out and you'll kill him. The God Tamer barely making it at number 10 on the list is the final boss of the Colosseum of Fools, Trial of the Fools to be more specific as well. The beast has multiple attacks and is accompanied by his owner. This battle took me a lot of tries because of using a wrong setup with charms, but I beat him with it anyway. First tip on how this boss could go more smoothly if you're stuck on him is either keep the enemies really far from each other or have them stand at the same place, because having them both attacking you from both sides is pretty hard to dodge all the time. Dodging his roll attack, however, is pretty easy though. Just stand pretty much anywhere on the map and shadow dash the second he's about to land on top of you. Getting the timing down might take a second of a couple of tries, but once you're used to it, you should be able to do it with the shadow dash without having sharp shadow. If you do this, you'll have more movement and more time to hit him, making it an easier target to beat him. On to number 9. For these last 9 battles, I will go more in depth because from here on they were an actual challenge and I was so done with them after I did these battles. Coming in at number 9 we have Nail Masters Oro and Mato. These masters will test if you're actually properly a Nail Master yourself by attacking you with everything they have. At first you will only be fighting Oro for a certain bit, until you knock him down. After you knock him down you might think you've won, but his brother Mato drops from above and together they unleash coordinated hell upon you. The brothers have coordinated attacks so they don't get in each other's way, and both will use the nail arts you have learned from them. Mato will use the Cyclone Slash in the middle of the arena, slowly coming towards your corner in circles until he slowly starts lifting himself off the ground up above your location and slash down into the floor, which gives you just enough time to dodge, but watch out not to dodge into Oro or his attacks then. Same goes for Oro, he will go from one side of the arena all the way to the other with his nail art, the Dash Slash. Just jump over him, but try not to jump into Mato. If you're in the middle of the arena, try not to get slashed or jumped on by both brothers or slashed and jumped individually, because these brothers will do the same attacks, but not sometimes at the same time. I would advise taking down Oro quickly, because he is the first you fought and he already has less health when the second phase starts. Together they're strong and fast, but split them both up and you can take them apart. After the pupils comes the master. Number 8 on this list is Sly the Nail Sage, the teacher of Oromato and Sheo. This guy doesn't beat around the bush at all and sees what you've learned from his pupils. He will use all 3 nail odds you've learned from the brothers and shows his extras with it. With the Cyclone Slash, he will slash from above and will bounce down to the floor, bouncing, trying to hit you, which makes you have to parry off of his nail or you have to dodge from afar. He will also use the Dash Slash and the Great Slash as well, making you take 2 hits of damage if he can hit you with those. But it's Radiant mode, so you gotta dodge him anyway. He makes himself invulnerable during certain attacks when he will slash twice and then do a flip while holding the nail around his body, which makes him almost invulnerable. You cannot hit him with a nail, but you can shadow dash through him with a well-timed sharp shadow. His attacks are hard to learn, and once he goes to the second phase, or what I call Whack the Cricket, the dude starts jumping off of walls anywhere in between 2 to 6 jumps and he dashes at you. The best tactic to go for this second phase is wait until he dashes at you from jumping walls to walls, and after he's done his spinny attack, then you can hit him once. And keep doing that slowly but surely, but eventually you'll finish the fight and kill the Nail Sage. My favorite battle in the game, a battle for pride, a dance of precision and speed. It's number 7, the Sisters of Battle. The beginning fakes you out thinking it's just going to be the regular Mantis Lords in the 5th Pantheon, but once you knock one lord down, not just one, not 2, but all 3 of them stand up and come to wreck everything you stand for. These guys' coordination on their attacks is the best in the game and they give you no time to heal, which isn't really necessary because it's Radiant mode, but it could be in Attuned and Ascended. These guys, their attack patterns are slightly changed as certain attacks have a different lord movement than before. For example, when one of the lords starts dashing from the left to the right or the other way around, another lord will lunge himself from above, try to hit you. You barely have any breathing room in this battle, and the slightest mistap of a button can be the end of that sudden attempt. I see this less as a battle, but more like a dance of death, just like Grimm's first fight. But this, however, is a lot more challenging. This battle is hard and I don't mind the amount of time it took me to do it, because it was fun. Sisters of Battles deserve that spot, coming in at number 7. Also, they have the best song in the initial game by far, without counting the songs from the God Master DLC. On to number 6. Number 6, the Collector. Okay, so this frickin' boss took me hours upon hours to do because I didn't equip Fragiles or Unbreakable Strength, which means I had to hit every minion multiple times. And on top of that, I was using the Grubberfly Elegy, which basically took away some of your power but gave you some extra length on your nail. However, that was more of my own fault, not using the right charms. But anyways, the 3 enemies that the Collector spawns from least worst to worst are number 1 being the Squid, the easiest to kill, but you don't want to leave this enemy lingering around the arena too quickly. So don't anticipate them to dash at you, but try to kill them before they dash, because if you hit them while they are dashing, they will go all the way to the other side of the arena, but they are still alive. Next up is the Sharp Boulders. These enemies roll on the floor and can take a pretty good beating, so try not to get cornered by these guys and make sure they don't catch you off guard when you try to hit them, or when you hit them and they keep rolling towards you. And the worst enemy of all, when he spawns in. Primal Ass Spits. These flying nightmares shoot 3 goose shots at the same time in a diagonal line at you, 1 straight forward at your location, 1 downwards and 1 on top. These are extremely accurate, but you cannot dodge them when you're close almost. They are the bane of my existence and made this battle the longest to learn and get progress on. The actual Collector, his attacks were not bad at all. He just jumps around and occasionally lashes out at you, trying to hit you. Standing close is the battle key you have here, because if you stand close to him, he will jump over you, barely not touching you. Just keep the enemies to a minimum and try to hit this guy as fast as possible and take him down as quickly as possible before his enemies overwhelm you. If you thought Grim was a pain, you're in for a beating of a lifetime. Nightmare King Grim at number 5 doesn't give you any breathing space and makes you his personal punching bag. His attacks are quicker than before and he adds a new attack. Not to forget, his previous attacks got an upgrade as well. For example, his pufferfish attack will launch the flaming balls right at you with a way quicker speed than before. When he launches himself onto the floor, when he comes from the ceiling, he will leave a fire trail behind you, which will kill you if you touch it. His spikes when he shoots into the floor will come up a lot quicker as well, and the bats he shoots from his cloak are in a top and bottom pattern instead in one row flying towards your location slowly but surely. However, he does have one new attack. He will fly in the sky and while floating there, he will summon giant pillars of fire from below your feet. This attack can be dodged easily though if you slowly keep walking in one direction and hit him from below with the Abyss Shriek once you're under him. Some of his attacks are hard to get a hit on because he is just too fast or he teleports away, but you have to be quicker than before. He won't wait as long as in his normal Grim fight before he teleports. This battle is a long one for sure and it's easy to slip up but the song used for this battle is just exquisite and it perfectly fits the atmosphere around you with the bright red and the dark red mixed into the background, giving you an awesome boss fight vibe. Number 4, Grey Prince Sode, easily one of the more annoying bosses to kill because of his weird movements. He's got a big assortment of attacks and knowing which one he will use is hard to prepare for and see. His attacks vary from him just jumping on you, to summoning exploding minions, to just blatantly running straight into you. The reason why this fight is a pain is because his movement speed is one of the quickest of all enemies in the game. This big doofus will jump to your location all the way from the other side of the map within like 1.5 seconds if he feels like it. A shockwave attack could also be a pain depending on which side you are on when he jumps and tries to slash with a sword. When he jumps and falls to the floor, he will track your movement. If he falls through the floor, he will teleport above you and he will track your movement for a bit before to land on you and creating shockwaves. This can however be easily dodged by standing still until he is almost dropping on you and then dash away and jump over his shockwave. Learning his attack patterns can be annoying because all the other minions he occasionally spawns in trying to hit you. You want to keep the enemies to a bare minimum and try to take Zote down as quickly as possible. The worst dream boss in the entirety of this game, in my opinion, Markarth. Markarth is such a pain to beat because of the multiple reasons. The first phase of this fight is nothing else from his normal fight except the fact that the floor is gone, so you will need to be a lot more careful where you will be jumping. He'll be throwing his javelins at you, trying to hit you, so try to loop around slowly to his location so you're pretty close when he does his other attack. For his other attack he will start focusing and his shield will start flying around him, but it will slowly get more distant from him. Try to go in between the shield and try to get a lot of hits in before he will retract the shield back to him and try to hit you with that, so Shadow Dash through that shield again. When he goes into his second phase, I only have one word of advice: get lucky. His next phase is by far the worst phase of any boss in this entire game in my opinion. His javelins will spawn in a lot quicker than before, and his second shield won't fly further away when he starts focusing it and the other one starts spinning quicker. This boss was a pain to do and I never want to try him again. Markarth deserves his spot at number 3 on the list and it is by far the most annoying boss I've had to do. Number 2, Pure Vessel. The vessel pure enough to contain Radiance. This battle is a beautiful fight to see which vessel is stronger, yours or the Pure Vessel himself. This guy does not hold back and will pull some amazing attacks unlike any other boss in this game. It's a pretty quick fight, but however, it's a very challenging one for sure. He uses attacks that no other boss uses, and these include jumping on you, which creates multiple light nails come out of the ground and dealing a lot of damage. He will focus soul and create damaging orbs around you, which are stationary and will hit you. Some also do this like the Soul Master or Soul Tyrant, but these will home and these don't. This guy has pretty much the quickest movement in any game when attacking you. You cannot outrun him at all. He will also definitely try to hit you with his void tendrils, which he will flail from his own body, and you will have to dodge those quickly. When he uses this attack, you either get behind him as quickly as possible or jump over the void tendrils. They're really easy to run into, so time your dash. The Peon Vessel was a super fun fight. It's why I actually never got really angry at it whenever I failed a fight. However, on to number 1. Number 1. Absolute Radiance. Don't act like you didn't see this coming. Absolute Radiance is exactly like the first letter of her name, AR, because she doesn't stop shooting beams, swords and balls of light at you unless you kill her quickly. Her first phase starts off with her slowly teleporting around the arena, but she already has more speed than regular Radiance because of her buff form. She will shoot balls and make paths of light appear from left to right, which you have to shadow dash through, otherwise you will definitely die. Also, the ring around her, behind her back, is also a lot bigger compared to regular Radiance, if you didn't know. The second phase of this fight is pretty much the same as the first, except for one little detail. She will make half of the arena floor spiked, so you will have a little more difficulty hitting her. Her attacks will stay the same, just as before, but you will have less movement. The third phase of this fight is most of the time the quickest one to do. She will make both ends of the platform spiked and will rain swords of light on top of you until you hit her often enough that will actually knock her down for the first time, and when the void tendrils try to overtake her. In the fourth phase, you will slowly climb up multiple platforms where the fight will continue. The fight continues on multiple small platforms instead of one big stable one. She will do the same attacks as before, but you will need a little different tactic for some of them if you want to live. For example, you can't just wait for the homing balls of light to hit the floor below you, because they could also be spawned in from below, which can hit you in the booty instead of just in the face. So don't forget, you have to do different movement to dodge those effectively. In this phase you get a lot more free roam than the other phases, which makes it, in my opinion, a lot easier. Some people think this is way harder like this because they don't know how to use this free space. For example, you don't have a lot of platform room when the beam attacks come out, but for me it wasn't that hard. To each their own, of course, but this phase nearly didn't kill me as often as the other ones. The final phase of this fight starts when you reach 2 platforms at an equal height all the way at the top of the pillars. From here the final phase will begin, and oh boy is it ever so annoying. She will keep spawning homing balls and will teleport all over the place. In my opinion, it's best to stick to one platform and guide the homing balls away from you, but slowly but surely keep getting a couple of hits in every time she teleports close to you. Keep doing this and eventually you will actually kill Absolute Radiance. For this last bit, I would like to thank everyone for watching this video. It took me a while to make this video because I wanted to prepare every single boss and try to find the best commentary I could. Some of these bosses have a really short commentary part, and I know this. This is what I did on purpose because I don't want to go too in depth with bosses that aren't too challenging. Because most of the people here are only here for like the top 15 or maybe even only the top 5 to see what someone's perspective is on this. But anyway, this was so much fun to make and to do for me, so enjoy this last extra bit I put together, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all with the next game, because this is the final video of me ever putting Hollow Knight until Silksong comes out. Goodbye.
Oh!